Hello, Anine. My name is Sharon Langfield, and I live in the village of Wabashine. I'm a member of Story Telling Orillia, and I've also been attending the Truth and Reconciliation Roundtable meetings in our bioregion for the past 9 months or so. When I realized that there were 3 members of Story Telling Orillia who were attending these online roundtable meetings, I invited other storytellers from Story Telling Orillia to join us in what has turned out to be a journey. I invited them to explore how storytelling could support the work of truth and reconciliation in a circle separate from our normal monthly storytelling gatherings. Mark Douglas, a member of Chippewas of Rama First Nation, guided Storytelling Orillia with his stories and wisdom for years, but he was unable to attend our online meetings. And so 8 non-Indigenous storytellers began meeting in a circle on Zoom. We had more questions than answers, which turns out is a good place to start. Mark had already guided us to not appropriate stories from Indigenous storytellers, so we had to figure out what stories were ours to tell. Each of us had a different area of interest, and so we began to research the history of our area following different threads. It soon became clear that settler accounts of the past not always agree with the knowledge that Indigenous knowledge keepers Mark Douglas and Jeff Manag of Beausoleil First Nation so generously shared with us. We had to confront the bias of a Western worldview towards believing written accounts over oral histories. We found that some of the settler written accounts were not entirely true, or they glossed over injustices inflicted by the settlers on the Indigenous people who had inhabited the land from time immemorial. In choosing to accept the time-honored tradition of oral history, we were beginning to decolonize our thinking and our way of knowing. We were surprised how hard it was to find out what had actually happened in the past 200 years. Perhaps we've become too used to being fed information at every turn or just Googling a quick answer. Their work took patience and perseverance, as well as the ability to piece information together. We shared the information with each other as we unearthed it, as well as our reactions to it. It seemed that the effort we were investing in our searches strengthened our connections to the stories and to the people who were part of them. And so we were horrified to find out robbing Indigenous graves was very common in the not too far past. We felt ashamed that the new settlers petitioned the government to remove the Chippewa from the land that had been promised to them, but now the settlers wanted. And we were angry that the representatives of the Crown were dishonest and coercive in taking title to the land. It was important to us that we had each other for support during this process. Together, I believe we are building our capacity for feeling uncomfortable in the face of the truth. I was walking in the forest just after we started this process, pondering the process that we were undertaking. As I passed by my favorite grove of eastern hemlock trees, the image of hemlock trees appeared in my mind, just little growing tips at first. As I opened my imagination, the roots began to form a basket that held the earth and all the underground creatures in it. I realized that this was the perfect model for our storytelling circle as we did this work. All the connections and relationships that had been created over the years, and the wisdom that Mark Douglas had woven into the group had already created a basket, a safe space that supported the work we were doing in the center. As our stories emerged, we workshopped them together. Each comment, each expression of support, each question became for me more roots, weaving an even stronger basket. And surrounding that basket was the even stronger basket being woven by everyone participating in the roundtable, supported by the wisdom of Indigenous elders Lorraine McCrae, Jeff Manag, and John Rice. Without the support of these communities, we may have given up. We may have thought it was too hard, too uncomfortable. because the work we were doing was not linear, just going back and getting the facts. It's actually circular work that only something round like a basket, something strong like a community could encompass. For as we learned the truth of what the early settlers, some of which were our own ancestors, did and what has happened since, it changed how we understood our place here. It changed our understanding of the land. This took personal processing, circling through the stories again and again and again, letting go of what we thought was true and integrating a new truth. An Anishinaabe-Moan teacher had gifted Story Telling Orillia with a word for an event on the fish weirs, which was canceled in March 2020. The word was Gimaadaadizimin, meaning he or she starts a journey. One of the points on our journey together will be June 27th, when we will tell the stories we are currently writing to the wider Storytelling Orillia circle and guests. We are calling that event Gimaadaadizimin, meaning we are all starting a journey. What began as a search for stories turned out to be a journey supported by the strength of community, our baskets. Moving from an individual approach to the strength of community, searching for the truth, listening respectfully to Indigenous voices, finding ways of telling stories of truth, and building strong relationships are our ways forward. We've only begun our journey, and we are grateful to be on it together. We are grateful to be walking with our friends, neighbors, and teachers who are Indigenous. And we invite all Canadians to begin your journey of truth and reconciliation. Gimaadaadizimin, we are all starting a journey. Miigwech. Thank you.